So we start with the game HTML into Chrome. I'm just gonna drag it in and then it's gonna start. So first thing it does, it's asking my name. So I'm gonna put in Gabriele for the account online. It connects then, finds the score. Score is 0, so it's just gonna load it in as 0. The accelerometer is now like working here, so let's reset it and start. The game starts and you can drag the phone left and right using the accelerometer to move, and I can just go on and avoid the asteroids like that. Whenever I'm colliding with an asteroid, a particle system is spawned and then the score gets updated and it gets me to the game over screen. Now if I press main menu, it's gonna load the scores again from the server, and there you go, it's that. Okay. We now move to Android Studio, where to be noted that if I have to make this work on an emulator, I need to set up the layer software renderer instead of the hardware renderer, or it's not going to be working. So let's launch the emulator on API 27. It doesn't work for some reason on API 22. The problem being that probably the stock browser in API 22 was not powerful enough to run WebGL, or maybe just not compatible with WebGL, as API 22 is Android 5, and WebGL, if I'm not mistaken, was in its infancy. So this is just now gonna start. Another thing to be noted is that the accelerometer doesn't work. The accelerometer doesn't work, of course, into the Android emulator, and it also doesn't work in my device on my phone. But I cannot be sure if that is going to be the case with the device that this application is going to be tested on. So now that device has boot up, we are going to be loading the game. It's taking a while. There we go. So now the game is starting. First thing first, it should ask me for first thing first, it asks me for my username. So again, just gonna be putting that in as Gabriele. And when I press OK, it's gonna connect to the server and retrieve my score that we set before with the Chrome version. So if I press start, unfortunately there are two issues. The first one being that the accelerometer doesn't work, and the second one being that the top and bottom banners, well, the bottom commands and the top banner are actually obstructing part of the game. I did not manage to find a way to circumvent this, although I have tried. Another observation has to be made on the frame rate, which is terrible, and this is due to the fact that we're using a software rendering instead of the hardware renderer. Now on collision, it's just gonna go and create a particle system, and then after a few frames it will just go back to the game over screen. And then since it's a higher score, this is my new high score. I lastly just wanna quickly go over the server. The way this works is this is running on an Amazon Web Services server running Windows Server 2012. All it does is that it's gonna accept from std in the account name, and then it's gonna switch on a command, which is the second thing that we need to send while it's running. So if it's 1, it's gonna try and read the score, and if it finds it, it just sends the found score plus the what's in the line, and if it doesn't find it, it's gonna create a new file and then send back the new keyword, say string. If the message is 2 instead, it's just gonna clear a file truncating the data from the beginning, and then it's gonna be setting up the score, just putting the score into the file. If the signal is -1, it's just gonna close the program down. If not, it's just gonna send back a didn't recognize opcode string.